Well, immediately after you get your first salary in this year 2024, this is what I want you to do. And by the way, this is the best time for me to come to your life in far as the finance is concerned and show you how to develop your discipline so that you can manage your money and do something constructive in your life. And by the way, remember one thing. Did I say only 365 days? 1 year. If you do something, if you can sacrifice on this, what I'm about to share with you, you can completely change your life. By the way, maybe you're fond of not watching videos, but this is what you ought to watch and be able to learn something that you're gonna say at the end of this year. You'll be like, wow, well, if not for that specific video that I watched on January 2nd, or depends on when you're watching this video, my life wouldn't be where it is. All right, by the way, do this. First of all, thank you for your eyeballs. Thank you for watching. And this is what I want you to do. I do post a video each and every day, okay? So if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, then it's a good one like this one, okay? Down below there on your right, there is a small button written subscribe. It is in black. Hit that magical button. It disappears. And also like the video and comment down below. By only doing that, you get to be notified whenever I upload a new good video. Let's get into the point now. Here you are. Right now, you're watching this video. Probably you went back to jobs and or you're about to do so. And this is what I want you to do. The immediate thing that you get, or the immediately after you getting your first salary, okay? Whichever the amount, okay? I'm not going to specify the amount. Whichever, 1,000,000 shillings, 10,000, 10, 20, whatever the amount of money that you're going to get at the end of the month, or maybe at the end of the day if you're not formally employed, okay? So immediately after you get your first salary, never forget this. First thing, you're supposed to have what we call the budget. Supposed to have the budget. And what is a budget? Budget is a language that money understands. Remember one thing, budget is a language that money understands. Never forget that. The problem that you have been doing last year, 2023, you never achieved something, is because money shows up in your door, you have no plans, and then when the money shows up in your door, the money is confused. It's like, okay, fine, hello Jack, hello Johnny, hi Susie, we're on your house. I mean, okay, what should we do now? And then you're like, you can just go wherever you want, all right? See, when you do not have a money, or rather when you do not have a budget, money just go wherever they feel, all right? So now, this is the point. Once you have your budget, and remember one thing, the very first thing that you're supposed to fulfill once you get paid is your basic needs. When I say basic needs, these are the things that you need them. You need them. You don't want them. You need them. Meaning you must have them. You must have them. Okay? You must have them. All right. And of course, obviously, I'm not going to list them. You know them: the food, the shelter, the clothing, the school fees, the debt, the black tax, those things that you have to have them. There's no negotiation. And by the way, for your information, those things that you should actually need them, guess what they are? They are just sustainables. They're sustainables, meaning they just sustain your life. They don't develop you. They don't grow you. They don't move you to the next level. They just don't. They don't. They just sustain your life. When you eat, you dress, you pay for that TV, you just sit, nothing happens. You don't grow, you don't do nothing. They just sustain you. So those are the first thing that you're supposed to eradicate out of your equation. So once you actually manage to do exactly that, before you even feed about feeling happy, throwing parties, nicing yourself and all those kind of things. No. First do that. So after doing the sustainabilities, the next thing that you're supposed to do is ask yourself, hey, I have 3 baskets here. I have the basket of the must have, the good to have, and the nice to have. Forget about the 2 baskets first, the nice to have, the good to have. First of all, you ask yourself now, what is my goal? What was my New Year resolution? Is to accumulate a certain percentage of money. Right? Let's say your target is to get 100,000. Now you ask yourself, okay, to get 100,000 by the end of the year, I'm required to save at least 12,000 at the end of the month. Okay, fine. I earn 30 or 40 or 50. Now, what do I do to make sure that at least, no matter what, 12,000 Kenyan shillings at the end of the month is actually set aside for the sake of the goal that I'm aiming at the end of the year? All right? So the immediate thing after sustaining all your immediately after fulfilling that basket of the sustainables or the must-have, now you feed the basket of what? You feed the basket of development. The basket of development. You feed that basket, all right? So immediately after you feed that basket, guess what now happens? You have not only eaten, you've not paid your school fees, all those things are catered for. And also the basket of development is taken care of. Guess what happens? You start become what? You start become unease, not really unease, but at least you become sort of, composed, you are at ease and everything flows well. So the reason why people develop anxiety and this kind of, sort of a thing is because you do not have a money set aside somewhere for the purposes of your development. So sustain that, then go to the development. Now, once you feed that basket of sustainabilities, that will actually trigger somewhere. That's what actually you move towards. And by the time you're doing this 12 times in an year, if you're being paid per month, then you're going to actually earn yourself a character, and achieving that goal that you've been aiming, that is the thing that is the most important one. Okay, so fine, after immediately getting your money, fulfill your sustainables, the must thing, the must to have things, and then go to the basket of development. And therefore, once you do that, things becomes easy. Now, the other thing that you do immediately after getting your salary is to actually understand your numbers. Okay, so you cannot do all these things without understanding your numbers. Don't just do this is a new year, you have to do something. And by the way, this year is made up of different things. If you ask different people, will respond differently. Some people are saying it's a year, or we're expecting high inflation, it's a year, we're expecting things to gonna out to run a little bit better. Others are saying, you don't know. And the best thing that you can ever do is to live in a life whereby you're sort of paranoid, just like you're expecting a bad thing like each and every time. I'm not saying that you have a negative attitude. No, I'm saying just live as if you're expecting an emergency. That's for a fact. Okay, so talking of an emergency, the next thing that you're supposed to do as far as this year is concerned, and immediately after getting your salary, is to make sure that at least you have what you call the emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? This is not money for investment. This is not for investment. Not for investment. It's not for investment. This is a money that you just set aside. You can access it anytime you want. All right, just in case something shows up. And let me just explain to you how much you should have as your emergency fund. Let's say maybe your monthly income or your monthly expenses is 20,000. Okay, maybe let's say your monthly expenses is 20,000. What does it mean? You usually say, if you just somewhere you're getting up in life and whatever, you're supposed to have at least 3 months of your expenses catered for, just in case something happens. So 3 months, it means that you ought to have like 60,000 somewhere for the sake of your emergency fund. Remember one thing, this is not money for investment. So for the investment and for development, there's this amount of money. And if I were to show you a very simple formula, what you can be able to do is to do this. An year is made up of 12 months. Okay, an year is made up of 12 months, and I want you to apply a certain rule called 4-1 rule. 4-1 rule. What does this rule mean? This rule means that in every 4 months of your salary, make sure that you have saved 1 month of a money that is equivalent to that what you earn per month. Let me repeat. 4-1 rule means at every 4 months rate, you actually save a salary, or you've saved a money that is equivalent to that what you earn per month. For example, if you earn 40K per month, make sure that at least you save 10, 10, 10, 10. What does it mean? That is month 1, month 2, month 3, and month 4. What does it mean? So by the time you're clocking the 4th month, you already have a savings that is equivalent to 1 month. So by the time you're clocking the 12th month, you've already have what? You have 40 times 3. You have your what? 120K. That way, you'll be able to do something called, hey, your future is secured as far as the investments is concerned. Okay, now that's the point. Now if you can actually at least try as much as you can to make sure this is what you do immediately after getting your salary, so be it. Another thing that you're supposed to do immediately after getting your salary, and immediately after doing that, what I've told you, is to be accountable to yourself. You can pick an individual, and this is where I say mentors usually comes in. You can pick an individual whom you assign to them and say, hey, guess what? These are the people whom I should be calling each and every month, so that at least I can be able to sort of, what we call it, sort of report to them. I did exactly what I said I'm gonna do. And of course, assign that with repercussions. For example, if I give you my case scenario, I always have these repercussions. Personally, I made that for me. For example, let's say in a day I survive like with 2,000. Okay, I ask myself, fine, if my day survives on 2,000 and it happens in a day like I exceed that 2,000, maybe with 400 or 500, I have to make sure the subsequent day or the following day, I have to make sure that I recover that amount of money. Even if it means me sacrificing something, I have to do exactly that. Okay. Excuse me. I have to do exactly that to make sure that at least I stay on budget throughout the time. Number 3, I usually have what we call a rule of thrift shopping. Excuse me, guy, I have some call, okay? So I have this rule of thrift shopping. What does it mean? Like, you cannot show up from me or to me with just a thing that you're selling, and I had no plans of actually buying that thing and end up buying it with a certain amount of, for example, if you have this problem, if someone can just show up with something worth 1,000 shillings and you had no plans about buying it, and then immediately after they show up, you can buy the thing, then you have a problem. You have a problem in the sense that, hey, guess what? Something that is worth 1,000 bob and above ought to be planned. That's for sure. There's no way you can just sit somewhere and then somebody shows up with something that they're selling 2,000, 3,000, and you can just dish up in your pocket and just buy the thing. You never had a plan about it. So I think that it's actually an emergency. There's nothing. You get the problem. So if you can get yourself in such a problem, such an issue, then you should ask yourself like a million questions, because that is a very big red flag as far as the finance is concerned. So cease doing the thrift shopping, and you have to budget for a thing. So if I can just recap exactly what I've just said. Number one, once you get your salary, the first salary on this year, make sure that you budget your money. All right. Number two, make sure that at least you channel some money towards a development account. And number three, make sure that at least you understand, hey, guess what? Understand all your numbers, understand your numbers. And once you do understand your numbers, actually get a mentor that will be able to actually report to. Get a mentor to report to in everything that you do as far as your money is concerned. And again, have a budgeted thrift shopping. Budgeted thrift shopping. What does it mean? Can you imagine budgeting for a thrift shopping? You know, it's good to ask yourself, okay, fine, okay. If something of this amount shows up and I had no plans, then I'll be able to buy it. For example, personally, I don't know how you're gonna view me, but that's how I view myself. Then that's how I do my things. There is no way I can buy something worth 400 Kenyan shillings without a plan. I'll repeat, there is no way I can buy something worth 400 Kenyan shillings without a plan. No matter how good it is, if it's not an emergency, I won't buy it. I have to plan for it. I would rather take your number and say, hey, wow, that's an amazing thing. Wow, it's ought to be in my house. But again, hey, guess what? I had no plans for it, but give me your number, then I'll be able to shoot you a call. Once that thing, I can be able to justify why I need it in my house, then I'll be able to either call you or I come for it so that I can be able to have it. That's it. But if you just sit there, you say, hey, there's things that ought to be in my house, and just give me, just because you have the 400. You see, this is the issue that affects a lot of people. You just buy that thing just because you can. Just buy that thing because, hey, guess what? Hey, the thing is here and the money is here. So why don't you close the transaction? You get the thing and you're done. Guess what? Who wins now? You got the thing, he got the money, or she got the money. The point is this: make sure that you budget, you plan for anything and everything. That way, well, I know you're going to be assigned a lot of names like stingy, you're miser, you're frugal, you're minimalist, whatever the terms. But guess what? Those are the qualities that you need. You ought to have them for you to realize a successful year as far as the finance is concerned. That's the reality. Well, and I know our beautiful ladies usually have these problems, you know, shopping anytime and every time. And by the way, this issue is not limited to only ladies, but of course, based on the statistic that I usually have, based on the clients that usually call me, you realize this problem is actually more pronounced when it comes to ladies and something of sort. Men, their problem is actually when it comes to throwing parties, alcohol taking, and what have you. That's where they actually tend off to thrift shop, especially when they're hanging around with their friends, and also this generosity kind of a thing. Because it actually, if you ask me, that's not even a sincere generosity, but they usually have that weakness of giving and, hey, you know, those kind of things. So anyway, the point is, make sure that at least you budget. Even if you're going for that show, you're going for that night out, you're going for that outing, make sure that you budget for anything and everything. That way, we say you are in control of your finances. And guess what? Let's try as much as we can. 2024, let's not catch up. Let's not play what we call the catch-up games with money. You know, let's be ahead of our money. We are in control, and then the money follows. That's exactly how you actually channel yourself towards the journey to success. All right? Don't forget, if you've been looking forward to getting my number, you want to call me, you want to have a conversation with me, always pick that number of pine from the description of this specific video, and we can have a conversation. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one.